Hello and welcome to Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge, Season 37, Spies, Lies, and Allies, Episode 10. Now we got a lot to go over with the mid-season trailer breakdown, comments, and more, but before we get to any of that, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. Do you have muscles? If you do, you probably had a muscle or two sore. I know I have. I normally get it from working out or sitting at my computer for far too long. That's when I like to reach to the Charles Warren All-Natural Sweet Ginger Vapor Rub. It is made with 6 all-natural oils and butters. And did I mention that the packaging is biodegradable? Another product I love to use is the Coconut Milk and Oats Body and Foot Powder. It's talc-free, baking soda-free, and cornstarch-free, all while keeping my feet sweat-free, and it smells like fresh coconut cake. And right now, if you go to charleswarrenpresents.com and use my promo code at checkout, you can get a discount. All the information and a link is down in the description below. Thank you so much to Charles Warren Presents for sponsoring this video, and now on to Tiny Table Talk. It has finally come, the mid-season trailer, and this is going to be very thorough. We start off with a scene from CT, who looks to be doing a capture the flag type of game where maybe you have the bags behind these walls, you have to pick them up and then try to make your way from one side to the other. This is going to get rough. I'm excited for this challenge. This was seen in the super trailer where it looked to be, I think, Amanda grabbing Nani's jersey and tearing it up. But we see Amanda is gonna be in this one, Tori. It looks like somebody is being tackled and their helmet is sideways. I wanna say that's an E, maybe that is Casey being tackled. We can see Nani, and it looks to be in the background, we're gonna see, it looks like Bettina is trying to corral Casey, who is trying to get past her, which, good luck, Bettina. What I find interesting is in the background, we can see Logan and Nelson, who are standing, waiting for their turn, and it looks to be the Ruby team. So where we have Corey, Nelson, and Logan now on the Ruby team, it could be Kyle swapping sides with Nelson, even though Kyle seemed to be wanting to go on Emerald so bad, and to me, I think that was hinting that he wanted to go to Emerald. Maybe he swaps with somebody from Emerald, and then whoever is on Emerald swaps with Nelson. Tori is still on Emerald, taking down someone. It looks like we're gonna have Big T and Amanda going into an elimination at some point in the season. Kyle mentioned that he wanted to go into an elimination so he can swap teams, so it doesn't surprise me that he is being shown heading into an elimination. Maybe sooner rather than later, maybe even next episode, because he really wants to swap teams, especially doing it earlier because there are so many people that you can choose from, get a better matchup. Here we have the ditch running T-Bone Hall Brawl-esque game where they have to run at each other in these ditches. We have Tori yelling, "Shut the F up, you bees don't want any of this, you don't," and it looks like she is now on the Ruby team. So at some point, on a Women's Day, someone is going to be swapping teams with Tori to get on the Emerald team from another station of the same foxhole ditch running challenge. We have CT, now Logan, it looks to be on the Sapphire team. Maybe he gets tired of being on the Ruby team. He gets sent into an elimination and then swaps teams to be on the Sapphire team, along with Emmy, who is in the background, and it looks like Emmy is wearing blue as well. So Emmy, at some point, will be going down to an elimination and swapping teams. And I only say that about Logan and Emmy because they are both on the Ruby team, and I don't think there's a ton of people that are flocking to be on the Ruby team. They're not dying to swap positions with Logan and Emmy to be sitting on the Ruby side. I think if anything, Logan and Emmy are going to be sent into an elimination. Also, they're rookies, so I feel like they would be sent into elimination more frequently, and then that's why they would be on a different team. And Emmy wants to be with Uncle CT, so I can totally see that happening. CT looks to be on the same team with Kyle, so possibly on the Sapphire team as well, and they're doing a money heist challenge. We have Devin, who looks to be confronting Amanda in the club saying, "You can't manipulate me." Maybe there's gonna be some tension between the Are You the One competitors, and this is possibly why we see Amanda being sent into an elimination. We have Bettina here doing an elimination. This kind of reminds me We're going to get another angle of this elimination a little further on in the mid-season, but this reminds me of the Rivals 3 elimination. I'm blanking on the name, but it had a battering ram. You had to position it. One team member had to position it. Then you had to like throw the battering ram to break the little glass. I know Nani and West was in that elimination. So I feel like this is going to be something similar. It looks like there is going to be a battering ram or a rocket, it looks like, later on in this midseason, and Bettina is going to have to knock down all the targets. Emmy is doing a challenge where she is frustrated and wants her mommy, she says. And we can see that possibly Big T and Kyle are on the same team with her. Maybe this is going to be a Ruby challenge and Emmy is not having it. And maybe this is the catalyst to get her to want to send herself into an elimination to swap teams to the Sapphire team. This challenge looks the most interesting to me with the jet being submerged. Everyone is going to be wearing their Top Gun pilot outfits, and you can see Nelson and Amanda are going to be doing this challenge together. They're going to be on the same team for this challenge. To me, that could possibly be CT or Devin's hair. So they're going to be doing this challenge. Maybe Kyle. Speaking of Kyle, we have him saying, "You vote me in tomorrow. That's the end of our friendship." Now, the challenge edit can be deceiving because the next frame we see is Devin. And we know Devin and Kyle are friends, and this could be deceiving. They've deceived us before with these mid-season trailer edits and who is anybody talking to, but this came up earlier on in the season and they were harping on it so much when it happened. The sabotage challenge, I feel like this could be later on in the season where he's already off of the Ruby team, he's on the Sapphire team, he's liking the Sapphire team at least, but Devin, who is on a different team, has his hands tied on who they can send into an elimination on a guy's day, and he's maybe thinking, I might have to send him in. And maybe other people are in his ear saying, how can you trust Kyle? Remember what happened earlier on in the season? Or maybe this is Kyle talking to CT maybe, or another friend that he has. Another shot of the ditch running explosion challenge where it looks to see that we have Nelson, possibly Big T, and Tori, who was just talking smack about telling somebody to shut up and they don't want any of this, is coming around the corner, and it looks like she's a little bit hesitant about coming around the corner. She's on the Ruby team, and then boom, she looks to be laid out by somebody of the Emerald team, and then Emmy, who is on the Sapphire team, is coming running along. I remember back to the Super trailer, there is a point where somebody looks to be waiting by the corner to see when somebody is coming around, and I just remember somebody getting laid out. I thought I saw Emmy running across them, and this could be the close-up GoPro shot of that. CT is lurking around the corner with this face. I don't know why, this face is really funny to me, and he says, "If there is any sudden movement, I'll bite him," which then we get a shot of what looks to be maybe team members putting their hands in the box, doing like a what's in the box challenge or whatever, and they're touching a snake. So maybe he's talking about a snake, or maybe he's talking about a snake in the game. Then we see Big T looking like she's swimming underneath a crate. Then we can see we have what looks to be Corey, Devin, Nelson, and CT in the background. Corey looks to be looking at Devin, saying, "You throw the mission, you gotta go to the sand." I'm guessing somebody is seen throwing a mission or is perceived throwing a mission to possibly maybe sink their team to get sent into an elimination. Maybe this is the next episode where Corey is frustrated because maybe Kyle sinks his Ruby team so that they are vulnerable to be able to send him into the elimination so he can swap teams. Something else could happen. Nelson looks to be wearing a red bandana. Maybe he's on the Ruby team. Maybe this is later on. Maybe he's on the Ruby team, and then maybe Logan is throwing a mission. Maybe Kyle gets back on the Ruby team and is throwing a mission, and now Corey is getting pissed off, and then that's where the whole scene of Devin talking to Kyle, and Kyle saying, "Hey, if you throw me in, our friendship is over," and maybe Devin is trying to like come up to bat and be like, "Okay, let's not throw Kyle in," but Kyle may have thrown the challenge. So now Corey, maybe Kyle threw the challenge to get Corey sent into the elimination. And so he is trying to be like, hey, maybe it's between Corey and Kyle is trying to get Corey out of this game because they can't trust each other. They're butting heads, and this is Corey saying, hey, if you throw the mission, you gotta get sent into the elimination. We have what looks to be Corey falling off what looks to be from the water challenge where they have to go from pillar to pillar, that wipeout challenge that it looks like, where everybody's spraying everyone with a giant hose. We can see Emmanuel trying to get around Nelson and Kyle, who are having this big blowout. It looks like it could be them coming back from an elimination. Maybe something happens with Corey. Maybe he is the one after that whole, like, if you throw a challenge, you should be sent into the elimination. But he was sent into that elimination, maybe via house vote. Maybe Devin has enough pull to save Kyle to the point where Corey gets sent into the elimination. He calls somebody out. He gets eliminated from the game, and coming back from that elimination, we have Nelson and Kyle getting into it because maybe Kyle's bragging about getting Corey sent out of this game. Nelson isn't having it at all, and it gets right into Kyle's face as we can see them pressing their foreheads with each other, and Tori is having to like press them apart. I'm loving coming up with all these storylines. I'm hoping I'm right in some way. Now we have a daily challenge, which looks to be from maybe the super trailer, as I surmise that it could be like a not so fast, but underwater not so fast. And this could be them still on the Emerald team, because we could see, I want to say that is Devin. Devin's back, so could be still the Emerald team working well with each other. CT and Kyle working with each other, so they could be on the same team, on the Sapphire team, jumping into the water. And we can see that Emmy is also on the team as well. Here is the underwater not so fast. That's why I think it's a not so fast, because it's very naughty. It looks like there's a construction underneath the water. I think that could possibly be Amanda. I can't tell who that is, but this just makes me believe that this is a not so fast underwater. And this is where everybody is having to escape the plane. And here is what I think is after the plane. Once you get out and eject safely from the plane that is being submerged underwater, you then have to get out and swim to a checkpoint. Here is an elimination, and I'm going to assume, or I'm going to think, that this person is Logan, and he's going into an elimination which looks to be a fiery tug of war. So Fireball in Total Madness was a balls in, but with a fireball. Now we're gonna get like fire rope, which is tug of war, but with fire. And I only say it's a tug of war because when the camera pans over, another person is holding the rope. Here is the elimination that Bettina is doing with the rocket and the rope battering ram. Then we have Kyle, who is in the elimination, and it looks like he's doing a pole wrestle. I wonder who he's playing. I tried to get a better view of who he could possibly. All I got was somebody's leg, and I don't know who that could be. Then we have TJ out in the field, and he says, now it is time to put up or shut up. This is it. This could be like the final daily challenge. This could be the final sprint before the finals. And we can see that Tori is here, and she is looking shocked. We have Emmanuel in the background. Somebody behind her is from the US. And then we have Nani also here. I believe that this is Devin, and he is on that wipeout challenge. We got a helicopter, folks. Sabotage wrecking ball challenge here, and it looks to be Logan is getting dropped after getting hit. So Logan, who is still on the Ruby team, is getting hit by what looks to be the Sapphire team, and we can see Emmy and Kyle working together. It looks like maybe Kyle has already swapped teams. It looks like Kyle's gonna swap teams sooner rather than later, and the same with Emmy. So maybe Kyle goes into the next elimination and wins, and then Emmy goes into the next women's elimination and wins. The only elimination we've seen so far is Bettina with the battering ram. So possibly could Emmy go up against Bettina in the battering ram elimination and win, and then swap teams to be on that team. Tori jumping out of a helicopter, and somebody dropping into where the plane is underneath the water. And then this is the final shot where Nelson says, nobody remembers elimination wins, everybody remembers champions, which is false. I'm constantly doing videos on eliminations, and everybody remembers elimination wins. Let's go back to Derek and Wes in the pole wrestle in the duel. the T-Bone elimination in Rivals. I think the right statement could have been not everybody remembers every elimination win, but everybody remembers champions. I think that's what you wanted to do, but I totally understand where he's coming from. And then we get the logo of the challenge, Spies, Lies, and Allies, and that is your shot-for-shot breakdown of this mid-season trailer. And now let's get to some comments from my Thursday's review and recap, and the first one comes from Justin, who says, I like the 3 teams, but honestly, never really been a fan of the callouts, aside from the Final Reckoning version of it. I think this pretty much sets up CT and Casey to see the final. The agency will never throw them in because they can just pick easy opponents and come back, and the person in the elim is not very likely to call either of them out for fearing they will likely lose. I think you have a spectacular point there that this new twist really favors CT and Casey. One, they already have a ton of friends, but do their friends want to see them in a final? Maybe Nani wants to see Casey in a final, but nobody else wants to see her in a final, but I don't think anybody will call her out or send her into the elimination. I do think, however, that maybe CT will get called out as a possible, maybe like Ed is the house vote, and yes, he's working with CT, but maybe he does like a Priscilla kind of move and wants to go up against the best. I think CT, Casey, and Nelson are in a really good position to not be called out into the elimination with this new twist, because I throw Nelson in there because he has such a good elimination record. The next comment comes from Bianca, who says, I'm satisfied with this twist. I can see it facilitating some interesting moves later on. I was disappointed Priscilla got voted down, but she is such an exciting player, and I love that she kept the same energy from her first elimination. 100% agree. Priscilla is fantastic. I can't wait till she comes back onto the next season of the challenge, praying that it's the next season that she's back on. I, too, am happy with this twist. I'll be honest, I didn't know how or what to expect from this twist. We have been playing the game one way for so long. We finally got to a point where it got spicy and interesting, and then they instantly flip it on us to have a 3-team format. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to feel, because now we have to get ready and wrap our heads around the next stage of this game and the new format. And I have to say that I'm actually excited, especially after doing the mid-season trailer breakdown, seeing how many people switch teams, how many team switching there are, the dynamics that these teams could have. And if this final is run in these 3 teams like it is in Cutthroat, that is exciting. And getting to think about the twist, I'm actually looking forward to these next few episodes to see how everyone wraps their head around the strategy, what they want to do, what do they want to accomplish, what's their end game, and I think it could be very interesting. Anthony comes in with a comment saying they should have done this or Battle of the Shows from the beginning. I know that there was something on the Challenge Official podcast about how they said that this couldn't be done in a team format because they wanted to get everyone to get used to the rookies and have the rookies get like their own screen time, because in pairs they could be shown off a little bit more. I kind of understand where that's coming from, but in the edit, I don't think we got to learn much of anybody. I think we learned more about Priscilla than any of the other rookies, and maybe Emmy here and there, but I think that we could have learned about the rookies in a team format because they're in there with a whole bunch of vets who don't know who they are, so they're gonna have to learn, they're gonna have to work together, and I think that could have been maybe not the same drama or the same level of getting to know rookies, but it would have been just a pivot. It wouldn't be like a step down or anything. It would have just been a pivot or a lateral on how we would get to know them. And also, I mean, if you're the editors, make us get to know them. Give us some confessionals. That's your job, for us to get to know the characters and the players who are in this game, whether it's in a 2-team format, 3-team format, solos, pairs. I don't understand why pairs would have anything different than, say, a team format where you could even pair them off once they're in the teams to do different legs of challenges. To me, I don't buy it that, hey, we had to put them in pairs to get to know them more, because put together some challenges, put together instances that they're going to have to work together and talk, and make the edit conducive for us to get to know them, whether it's in a 3-team format, pairs, or solo. That's the job, and that's what I expect. And I do think that it could have been interesting having the 3-team format from the very beginning. Also, Battle of the Shows, I think would be coming in 2022. Just looking at the history of the show, they did Battle of the Seasons 2002, Battle of the Seasons again in 2012, and then coming up in 2022, you can't really do Battle of the Seasons anymore with the Real World. Let's do some Battle of the Shows and keep that tradition going. I think that would be very interesting. The next comment comes from Solo Protege, who says, they really went with the Pokemon theme, huh? Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald? Nintendo about to go after MTV, LOL. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that. Every time they were talking about Ruby, Emerald, and Sapphire, I was like, this is Pokemon. And that's like the same generation. So much so that I did Photoshops yesterday or on Thursday after I put out my edit. I made Nintendo video game boxes for the challenge Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald version. I already posted this on Instagram and Twitter on Thursday, but I wanted to showcase it here on the channel. I was very proud of this. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one who saw the Pokemon theme here. The next comment comes from Red is Not a Flavor, who says, MTV is really trying to push Emmy on us via CT confessionals. Interesting, CT shaded Amber B and pushed Big T onto Ruby in this episode. Yeah, I think that we're seeing CT's true colors and how he truly feels about Amber and Big T. I think maybe in the edit, it was just trying to make him look better when he was like, oh, I like Big T. Maybe she was more like bending to his will. Maybe she was a lot more like cool with whatever CT wants to do, I'll do it. And now this season, she's doing her own thing, and now he's like, I don't really want to deal with her. I think the Amber shade was harsh. I mean, you guys just won a ton of money last season working well with each other. You could have swapped partners. You didn't. You kept Amber because you had that connection with her. And then this season, I think there was so much Amber hate that I think a lot of people were like, where's CT? Is he being a friend off camera? Maybe he is. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, saying like, okay, everybody's like crapping on Big T. Everybody is throwing Amber B underneath the bus. I wonder if CT is being a friend on the background that's not being shown in the edit. It looks like it's not. It looks like he is just like, we're seeing his true colors, how he truly feels about these two women. Emmy is so enamored with CT that CT likes that. And CT wants that in a partner. He wants full control. He wants somebody that he can control fully. And I think Emmy gives that to him rather than say Amber and Big T. And now CT's just like, no thank you. Cobra Kai owner comments, not gonna lie, I think the teams wearing their civilian clothes in their team colors to deliberation is kinda corny. Then you have Nelson with the Lies, Spies, and Allies speech before placing his diamond, which was cringe. Yeah, I was not a fan of everybody having to wear their team colors to the deliberation. If that's the challenge decision, please stop. Don't have us do this. Don't have them be like Power Rangers where they have to wear their colors so we as the audience can understand which team they are with. I don't need that. They're sitting with their teams in the deliberation. It's a triangle table. Each team has their section. We understand who's with whose team. We don't need to have the colors there. It's like, I want to believe that that was the player's decision, but then again, it came out that last season, they told everybody in their confessionals they have to wear like spy gear. So everyone just wore turtleneck. The challenge, we don't care what the players wear. We care how they play the game and how they are entertaining. We don't care if they're wearing red, green, or blue. We don't care if they're wearing a turtleneck in the confessionals or if they're shirtless. We just want good entertainment on our TV. Michaela comes in with a comment saying, I honestly believe Ashley could have easily won the elimination without everybody's help. I think she would have won regardless, but I still would have liked to have seen her won without any help. Everybody was talking about Total Madness where Wes helped and Ashley was on the bad side of that elimination where she lost. I understand where people want to help, but to me as an audience member, I would much rather just see someone win just straight up without any help. And I think she would have won. Struggling a Tart says, I really liked Ashley's attitude when she was called down. She was like, yes, let's do this. Also, badass, big move. Priscilla, you are brave, and I respect that. Which she was right, and I loved Priscilla and her fearless approach. She needs to come back. 100% agree. Priscilla needs to come back. In the aftermath, there was a conversation that Amanda had with Priscilla, and Priscilla said that she was not going to pick Amanda for this elimination. If you win the elimination, you don't know if you can swap teams or anything, so she's thinking, I don't want to take Big T out. I don't want to go after Emmy. Emmy's won 2 eliminations. And if that's your team that you're going to run the finals in, you don't want to like hinder your team more than it already is. So really, she was looking at the Sapphire team. She's not going to pick Bettina because they're friends. She had that conversation with Amanda saying that she wasn't going to choose Amanda to go down to the elimination. So her only real option that she gave herself was Ashley. And I don't think she was going to waver on that at all. So she was going to pick Ashley from the beginning. I'm sure that after Amanda had that conversation with Priscilla, that at least Amanda would give the heads up to Ashley. So Ashley was able to get her mindset around, I'm going to be going into the elimination. I have to focus. I have to get mentally prepared. And the final comment comes from Zachary, who says, Priscilla had an amazing rookie outing. I wish we saw more of her in the beginning, but I can't wait to possibly see her again. What are some other rookies you think have a good shot of returning? I want to see a ton of returning rookies from this season. Priscilla for sure. Kels, I would love to see back. Michaela, Michelle. I would also like to see Ed, who is still on the season. There's a ton of rookies that I would love to see called back because I think they add a lot to the show, especially Priscilla, who kicked off this season. I would love to see her come back and see what else she can do, raise some havoc, shake things up in the challenge series and have a long-standing challenge career. I would love to see it, but that is it for Tiny Table Talk for this week. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What from the mid-season trailer are you the most excited about? What are you wary about? What do you think about these teams and everybody switching? What do you think about the new format? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge 37 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.